Sy, you there? What's happening over there?
Hello?
Hey, what's up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
How are you?
I'm good. It's 7:30 a.m. Sitting outside
Yeah.
in a coffee shop. Only one.
Really?
Yeah, just better Wi-Fi.
That's nice.
So I drove.
I don't think any coffee shop in Tehran is open at 7:30 in the morning.
No.
So that's pretty cool. No, I don't think so.
What
No,
time do you
not
guys
really.
drink coffee there? Like at noon or what?
Oh, we don't drink
Oh,
much
you
coffee.
don't?
We drink tea and we
Oh.
make it at home. So yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, we like to waste our money here, so.
Well,
Alright.
we don't have a lot of money to waste, so.
Yeah. Okay. What time is it over there?
Alright.
7 a.m. So, or, I mean 7 p.m.
It's 6 p.m. now. 6 p.m.
So I'm not bothering you too much.
No. I'm totally free.
Cool. Okay,
So-
let's get started, I
Alright.
guess. I have no idea what's been happening the last 3 weeks. So, in a sentence, can you summarize everything for me? No.
You mean by with the league or with my team or whatever?
I was just kidding.
Okay, all right.
But let's start with
You
the,
you did finally export, right?
yeah, last night.
Yeah, cool.
So
Great,
I did
great,
that just
great.
for you.
Thanks. Thank you very much.
No, thank you. Okay, let's talk about the Marlins, and we can expand from there, I guess, and I can kind of
Yeah,
get familiar with everything.
Sure.
So I understand you didn't make any trades, right? You stayed kind of
No,
quiet. at the deadline.
I tried for a couple of pitchers. I had talks with Pittsburgh and San Francisco about Lester and Lincecum, but they didn't really go anywhere. I wasn't willing to give up a lot because my team is doing pretty solid, so I don't want to really touch anything. But I did try to, especially after Mike Pelfrey went down for the season, I did try to add another starting pitcher, but I guess I wasn't willing to give up enough for Giants and Pittsburgh to trade their guys to me. So.
Yeah, because last time I was here, and last time I saw you, you had just acquired Lance Lynn from Charles, and that kind of pushed Chris Capiano to the bullpen, and now he's back, right?
Yeah, after Mike Pelfrey went down, he was my only choice to put back in the rotation. He was great in the bullpen. I think he pitched like 22 innings without giving up a run, but I had to bring him back to the rotation and bring Alex Sanabia up from AAA to the bullpen. Capiano hasn't been doing great after he's been brought back into the rotation, but Lance Lynn has filled the role of Mike Pelfrey very well. He's now my second guy under the rotation. So I've been winning some games with my defense and pitching, so I'm pretty content right now with my starting rotation.
Yeah, and looking at your wait, Rob Brantley just went down? Your second catcher?
Yeah. It's he was my I platoon my catchers. I put Rob Brantley against right-handers and Real Muto against left-handers, and they are both doing pretty well. But unfortunately, Brantley went down against Cincinnati. So, and my file is a day old, but I think as much as I know, he was diagnosis pending. I don't know if the diagnosis has come in yet, but that has me worried. You know that
I think that's
injury and Mike Pelfrey.
That's one of the better catching platoon in the league. Both are hitting 300.
Yeah, both are over 300. They've been doing a pretty good job both offensively and defensively. So I guess part of it is because they are playing against pitchers who use the opposite hand. But I'm pretty satisfied with what they've been doing.
You have the second best defense in the league, so it speaks a lot about the depth you have all around the field.
Yeah, I with most of my acquisitions, because I'm a fan of the National League, I like how they play baseball in the National League. So especially after I joined the league, my main focus was to acquire guys who are solid defensively. I mean, Ben Revere and a couple of other guys. So that's been my main focus. Yeah. I'm happy that we're second in defensive efficiency, and I guess in this league, what I've learned is that it's better to be like 7th in defense and 7th in offense than to be like the best team in offense and the worst in defense. I don't have to tell you that, of course. But
I already know that soon.
Yeah, but I think that helps. That has helped me a lot with winning. My offense isn't great. I mean, I'm 8th in runs scored. My defense isn't super. I mean, if you combine pitching and defense, I'm 5th in runs against. But overall, I've won a lot of one-run games and extra inning games. So I think that's the reason. I think that paying attention to both defense and offense has paid off for me. By the way, I'm sorry for the guys who are listening. I'm sorry for my English. I don't know how good I am. I don't think I'm very good.
What are you talking about?
I think it's fine.
I'm talking about you. You are an English teacher. You should be.
I think I told you before, I am an English teacher, but it's still a foreign language, and I have very little experience talking to guys who are actually American or English or whatever.
Oh no, English is my second language as well. So we're in the same boat.
Well, you live in
can half-ass
US, so
and not go anywhere. But no, you're doing fine. I mean, I have no trouble understanding you. So you might have trouble.
Thank you. You're very kind. Thank you. All right, let's continue.
You talked about picking an NL team. Were the Marlins available? I mean, I guess obviously the Marlins were available. Was it the only team that was available when you first joined, or?
No, actually, the first email I sent Max, I think I told him that I wanted to pick Colorado, and I remember my first night on chat. There were a couple of guys. I think Tim was there, and Shane and Joe. And I was talking to them and asking for their suggestion on which team I should pick. And my first choice was Colorado, but when I was checking last year's standing, I noticed that they were like they had 90+ wins. So I figured whatever I do, I'm not gonna like improve that team. I mean, even if I win the division, it'd be like I would just be repeating last year's success.
Right.
I wanted to kind of build the team up from the ground. So
yeah.
And I know it's always fun to manage and be a GM of a small market team. I mean, you don't have money, so your options are limited. You have to be more creative. So that's the reason pretty much that I decided to go with Marlins, and they sucked last year. So there were no way I could beat worse than my predecessors. I mean, they were hitting 235, I think, last year.
Yeah, let's see. They were last place last year. Wow. 5th place.
Yeah. And you know, I felt comfortable picking a team that sucked rather than a team that did great. So anything I do looks like an improvement now. So that's the reason I went with Marlins.
Yeah, I mean, I think the bar was just set so high that I just have to crawl under it, or I can't go over.
Yeah. But after this year, well, you have a different kind of situation. I mean,
right.
You are going to kind of you have to compete with this year's success, and let me see how much success you have had.
Not very much.
Well, you're fourth. You're fourth in the division, so all right.
Before we jump off to other things around the league, let's talk about Marcell Ozuna, since he's one of my favorite players, really, because I think he's the number 1 prospect in the league, right? Last I checked.
I think it's top 5. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he's number 4.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I know he's a pretty good prospect, and I don't want to like bring his price down because I might want to trade him at some point, but I think a lot of it has to do with that gap power rating. I mean, my scout thinks that he's 109 already in gap power, and I personally consider gap power the least important of the 5 batting ratings. I mean,
really?
There's contact and eye rating. Sorry?
No, I was just saying, really. No. I'm just kind of curious as why you think that. I'm not making fun of you.
Well, maybe it's because of the kind of baseball I want my team to play.
Right.
It is very important gap power, but I think I would rather have a player, and I'm sure you would too, that has like 110 in contact and 30 in gap power than the other way around. And one more problem with Ozuna is that he hasn't really improved this year, and I'm really worried about it. I mean, he's going to be my central fielder next season. I have a plan for him to be my center fielder, and he's been improving pretty good on defense, but on offense he hasn't done much. I need his contact rating and his eye rating to improve dramatically before starting day of next year to be able to hit ideally after Christian Yelich in the lineup.
What I was going to say is, looking at your stadium right now, I mean, I think it's pretty neutral, right? It's not too leaning toward homer friendly or too pitching friendly. So
yeah.
So some of the gap power, it's gonna some of the ball's just gonna find its way out. It's not gonna, unless you're playing in like, I don't know, Petco, then some of the gap is gonna stay in. But if you're playing in, I mean, a relatively neutral ballpark, the gap power is gonna translate to home run numbers.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. I think a gap power is very important, but I personally am very worried about his contact and avoid K rating. Yeah. I very much like a hitter that I think, I don't know, I think it was I was talking to some of the guys and I said my favorite player in the league is David Wright, partly because I'm a Mets fan, and some of it is because I like a hitter who can hold off his bat on a full count and not swing. So that's, yeah. I'm worried about.
Looking at him right now, he's OBP.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, David Wright has a 400 OBP,
and he's having a down year. I mean, Ozuna, he strikes out a lot. He already has 102 strikeouts, and that is one of the reasons I like Ben Revere very much, is that he doesn't strike out. So Ozuna, as big a talent as he is, I'm not completely sure about him. I mean, trading Ozuna would not be out of the question, honestly.
Interesting.
But I'm not gonna decide anything this season. I'm gonna wait and see till next season, ideally after spring training next season, to kind of figure out what I'm going to do with him.
Because ideally, either one of him or Ben Revere has to go, right? That you're.
Yeah. Next season, starting day, only one of them will be a Marlin, that's for sure.
Well, that's really interesting. I know I'll be following that, his development for sure, and what you're going to be doing with him. So let's expand out to your division here with the NL East. Nats, the last time I checked, Nats has been kind of staying right in there, right? And then Phillies have been trailing off.
Yeah, Nats are just half a game behind me, and I still consider myself the underdog in the race. I mean, I was checking today, and Nats have more home games left than I have. So I think they are still, and they obviously have more talent, especially with the talent they acquired at the trade deadline. So I still think they're in the driver's seat. Philadelphia kind of dropped the ball last couple of weeks, although they're not out of the race yet. But they lost the series to the Nats, which was very crucial. But I still think that I think it has been the most interesting race. Maybe it's because I'm in it and I pay more attention to it, but I think it's one of the more interesting races we have in the league right now.
And for about 10 seconds here, why don't we put spotlight on Noah, because we were grilling him, or at least some of us were grilling him. You can see why right now, looking at his lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah, 7 and 8. I mean, 8 is pitcher spot.
His incomplete lineup.
Yeah. I mean, coming from a guy who's me, who hasn't exported in 3 weeks. I mean, he exports once a week. So I mean, I don't know what else you can expect from that than to, I don't know, you manager. But bottom line, it's on you to take care of these things.
That was pretty funny when he talked about replacing Joe Torre. I giggled at that.
How about Joe Torre becomes a GM and?
Yeah. Let's see how Noah does as a manager.
You said Nats made a couple moves. Yeah, Nats, looking at it, Nats acquired David Price, kind of a surprise to me. They gave up Anthony Rendon, which is a pretty nice, I think, prospect who's ready to play for the Rays right now.
Yeah.
Been spending all year in AAA, but I think he can be called up to play third base. I think their third base situation, they have Longoria, right?
Yeah, and although I can see the Nats point of view, I mean, they have Ryan Zimmerman, and he's been pretty solid. And he's not old; he's 29 years old. So maybe they kind of thought that he would be expandable. So, and David Price, it's hard to not try to get David Price. I mean, he's a great pitcher. I think the money is not much of a problem for the Nats. So I think it was a good deal for both teams. I don't think that I don't consider that one-sided deal. I think both teams might improve from the trade or not. It could go either way depending on how David Price would perform or how the pieces that Washington gave up would perform.
They also got Paul Konerko, which is, I mean, Konerko switched team twice this season already, so maybe this is his final.
He's not the only one. One interesting thing about this deadline was that a lot of players switched teams for the second time this season. Max Scherzer, Konerko.
I can't remember the other guy. Scherzer, I can understand because Scherzer, his first move was back in the off season. For guys like Konerko, I can't wrap my mind around because it's downright unrealistic to me. Because they switched team in a matter of 1 month, even that, right?
And I think Jordan Zimmerman broke a record. He was dealt twice in like 3 days. I don't even know if that's legal or not, but Jordan Zimmerman was first traded, I think, to Boston, and then 2 days later to St. Louis.
Yeah.
I didn't know you can do that.
That's illegal in California. That's illegal in my mind. I don't condone that, but okay. But I mean, if there's the biggest thing to me always is the reasoning behind it. As long as the GMs take time to reason it and not just present the trade as like a 5-minute deal where the other GM hits you up and you just agree right away, then I mean, I can't say anything to that.
Yeah. As long as there is a due process, and as long as they think about the deal and they try to get what's best for the team, no one has a problem with that.
And then let's talk about the Mets to roll out the NL East here. The Mets, Jason has been really proactive with his team. I know that.
Yeah.
Did he make any trade? Oh, the Lincecum trade. With
that was a very interesting trade. I think he got. Let's face it, Jason received the miss. I mean, the Mets were doing pretty awful. I think they were 6-23 in May, so that's an awful record. And their problem is obviously offense. I mean, they're dead last in the National League in runs scored. They're first in defensive efficiency, so they're kind of like the opposite of your team. But I think the trade was kind of an attempt to address that issue. He got Brandon Crawford, who is hitting pretty good for a shortstop, and he's solid defensively. And I don't think after trading Ruben Tejada, the Mets didn't really have an actual, a real shortstop. And so Brandon Crawford, I think, is an interesting piece to add to the Mets.
Not to mention Gavin Cecchini, which I think a couple people were talking about him last night. I don't know about him. Could be the shortstop of the future, maybe.
They trade Gavin Cecchini. The Giants got 2 great pieces. Lincecum has been he's got great upside. Of course, he's one of those guys that you're not sure because of the stats. I mean, he hasn't been hitting very well this season. He's been 203 in Double-A.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
No, I was just saying that he is still a top 100 prospect. So that was a nice piece for Giants to acquire.
And let's leapfrog to the Giants, who I think after the Lincecum deal do you think they're still in the hunt, or was that the reasoning behind the deal for them to go after the playoffs?
Well, looking at the standings, they're 7.5 game. Although all of the NL West teams have been quite streaky. A very clear example would be Arizona, who is now, according to my standings, just half a game behind San Diego. So I wouldn't count them out. I mean, Giants were maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago very much in the wild card race. I wouldn't count them out just yet, but I'd be pretty surprised if they are in the time that's left back in the playoff race.
Yeah, because one of the things that I expected, and I told him this, that I expected trade to do leading up to the deadline was acquire a dependable outfield bat. And he kind of did that in getting Mark Trumbull 3 weeks back, but I don't think that Mark Trumbull is the answer to his outfield problems. He's out for the season with a torn calf muscle. But Giants' biggest problem is their hitting, and I don't think they addressed that at all in this deadline. Right now they're 15th in home runs. Their stadium is a big part of that, but when you only have two guys in the lineup that has only hit double-digit home runs, which is Jose Sandoval, I think he had a lot of room to improve offensively, and I don't think he really addressed that. But maybe they'll continue to rely on their pitching and kind of stay relevant.
Yeah, maybe. But I think looking at the lineup, I mean, it seems like he's trying to do some exercise with some young guys. I mean, he has Ehire Adrianza in his lineup, so he's kind of trying to bring up guys and try some young people. I think he has set his eyes on the next season, and maybe he has given up on this season. But yeah, his pitching is solid, although he doesn't have a lot of power in his lineup. 3 guys in his lineup do not have a home run. So.
Right. But one thing that I do like that he managed to do was he kind of leveraged the early season success that he's had with his pitching, and one of his trade was trading, who was it, to the Reds, his starting pitcher, Mark Buehrle to the Reds for a decent food prospect.
I think that was a good deal for him. I was always looking for Mark Buehrle to kind of lose his level of performance. So I think that was great timing on Trey's part. He couldn't have picked a better time to trade him. That was, I think, the peak of Mark Buehrle's value. So that was a good move.
Yeah, jump ship.
I was gonna ask you who do you think will. I was asking you who do you think is gonna win your division?
Whoa. Okay. Since we're already here in the division, let's talk about the West here. I don't think I'm gonna win because that's just me. But I like the Padres' chances. They have the pitching. Have they done anything since the Hayward trade?
I don't think so. I don't remember them doing it.
Tim did not. Well, okay. So
I think Tim is pretty busy with CBL being the commissioner also. He doesn't have a lot of time to make trades, but he has been maintaining his team pretty well. It has paid off. I mean, I think one of the few
he has a good situation in San Diego, so it's not. It doesn't require massive overhaul or anything. So.
Yeah, right. That's right.
But we talked about the DBacks and kind of how they've been managed to stay in the race, and
they were on an 11-game winning streak last week. So that was amazing. I mean, no one could stop them. And I mean, looking at their schedule, from July 18th until July 29th, they won each and every game. So, and that's what put them in this position. I think they were hanging around 3rd or 4th place the whole season in your division. But now they've got a real chance. I mean, even if not a chance to win the division, they are now a serious contender for the wild card spot.
Yeah, and looking at their stadium, it's definitely a hitter stadium, like a hitting friendly stadium, like in real life, and it's a big thing what their starting rotation has been able to do. They're 3rd in the league in starters ERA, so I think that's how they've been winning with really good pitching.
Yeah, and Josh Colemanter, I mean, he has a couple of guys who are still in the race, I think, for the Cy Young Award. Both Josh Colemanter and Tyler Skaggs, they've been pitching pretty well. I mean, Tyler Skaggs has a 3.43 ERA, and Josh Colemanter has lost just 2 games, and his strikeout per innings is 9.1. So you wouldn't expect these kind of pitchers to be doing so well, but they are. And that, I think, is one of the big reasons Arizona is doing so good.
But I don't think they have the I don't think they have much of a chance without Paul Goldschmidt after that deal.
Yeah, what was up with that trade? I never understood that trade.
Oh, honestly. We still don't understand. I still don't. Because right now, at first base for them, they have a no-name. I don't know who that is.
Yossi Arbello? I've never heard of him.
I mean, that's a big part of their production, just taken out. And when I don't think maybe they didn't expect to go on this lucky stretch of a run, but if they expect to stay in the race, I mean, not having him there is gonna make a big difference, I think.
Yeah, he could have been what is going to push them over the edge and make them the leader of the division, and he's not there. So
yeah, maybe. In hindsight, that's probably not a trade they should have done, but let's see what happens, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Shane then, the Dodgers. Have they done any trades in the deadline?
No, I haven't seen Shane around much either.
Shane.
I know he was kind of shopping Josh Bickett and Chad Billingsley, but with the quality of pitchers we had on the block, I think he didn't really have a chance to get a lot of value for them, especially since, well, they are Dodgers pitchers and naturally are overpaid. So
hey, a six-man rotation. Wow, I just noticed that.
I'm not sure why. I think he's trying to maybe he's trying to give Zach Lee some experience for next season.
Yeah. Speaking of experience, one thing that I did notice he mentioned was calling Yasiel Puig up. That was a long time coming, but he's finally up.
Yeah. Yasiel Puig is one of the guys. His real life is kind of different from his MMB life, but I think after I kind of consider that the calling up of Yasiel Puig the point that Shane gave up on his season.
What?
He was always talking. No, seriously, he was always talking about how he's not gonna he's gonna trade him or he's not gonna bring him up this season, but he suddenly decided to bring it up. I'm not sure of the reasoning. I'm sure he has his reasons. I've never talked to him about it. But Puig has been doing pretty well, actually.
Yeah,
4 home runs.
Give him a chance, at least. He's doing well.
Yeah. He had 12 RBIs in 23 games. That's pretty good. I think he has won himself a spot on the lineup this season and next. And they still have a chance. I mean, they're just 2.5 games out of the lead in the division, and it's still the Dodgers. I mean, anything could happen.
Well, let's move to the let's wrap up by moving to the NL Central here. Let's talk about Charles, I guess, the Cardinals. They didn't end up trading Wainwright, but one guy they did trade was Max Scherzer. So let's break that down for a little bit.
Yeah, they got Jordan Zimmerman. They got Jordan Zimmerman. Personally, I don't know. You get one pitcher in Zimmerman and you lose one pitcher. I don't know. Maybe he didn't get good offers from other teams. That's not an offer I would do. I mean,
right.
Max Scherzer, you have a pitcher that is doing pretty solid and 2.82 ERA, and you trade
it's quality over quantity, and I think Charles kind of erred on the side of quantity on this deal. Just looking at it.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Jordan Zimmerman, as great as a pitcher as he is, he's been out for the whole season. Who knows how he's going to come back? And he is the central piece of the deal. I mean, over in
because Wei Yin Chen doesn't make up the ground between.
The
other
not
pitcher.
Even close. And he did give up Matt Carpenter.
Right. So I mean, I don't know if it was the lack of offers that he got because if anything, Charles was really vigilant and really at it in shopping Scherzer. So it's been like a couple months now that he's been shopping Scherzer. So I don't know if it's the lack of offers or just taking the best offer that he got at the very last minute. So kind of bummed out to see Max Scherzer go like this.
Yeah, he's been great this season.
Yeah, but at least he kept Wainwright, so it's not. He still has that ace in that rotation.
Oh yeah, he still has a very has an incredible rotation. And if Jordan Zimmerman after next season is the Jordan Zimmerman that we know, he's still going to have Wainwright, Sale, Zimmerman. There's a brilliant rotation still. But I personally think that I don't know. We don't know what offers he got, but I think he's settled for this trade. I think he could have gotten in an ideal situation. He could have gotten much more for Max Scherzer.
Right. I agree. And then the other logjam that he had was Matt Adams at first base with Alan Craig, and Matt Adams was also shipped out, right?
Matt Adams, yes.
Right, with first baseman.
Matt Adams and Pete Kozma were traded for Christian Villanueva. That's I think an attempt to improve his farm system. I mean, Villanueva hasn't really played that good for Pittsburgh, although he was a pretty good player for Chicago. He's one other player that was traded twice this season.
Yeah, not surprising, but I mean, he does have David Freese, who's doing really well, so maybe Villanueva is the answer for the future. So Adams, he had his value is, I think, sky high, even though he was struggling. And so I don't know. Maybe Charles felt the need to unload him to give Alan Craig more playing time.
Yeah, maybe, probably. And the problem with Matt Adams is that he does not walk. He has nine base on balls the whole season. In order for Matt Adams to be effective, he has to hit home run, and he hasn't done that this season. I mean, he has only 5 homers in 207 plate appearances. So I would say this was a disappointing season for him, but he is still Matt Adams, and he has, as you said, a lot of value on the market.
So, kind of to wrap up that division, since the team who is leading is the Reds, and did they make any moves to improve at all? Which I expected them to, but they didn't make any moves, right? Except for Mark Buehrle trade.
I'm not seeing anything. Although they have the division locked up, any moves they would have made would be to do better in the playoffs. But although they are 3-7 in their last 10 games, but they have. I think it's hard to imagine anyone catching them in the Central Division, especially since the other 4 teams have.
Please explain to me why or how Jay Bruce is managing to play center field.
I don't know. That's.
This is the most consistent problem that they've had all season, and they just haven't dealt with it.
I mean, they have Bobby Abreu in right field, who has a Dix rating, and Bruce has a 3. Maybe he's trying to give the other teams in the division a fair chance. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to pull out my hair and yell, because that's just really frustrating.
That is very weird.
Well, I guess that's why Charles is frustrated, I guess.
Maybe.
Yeah, and the other 2-3 teams in Milwaukee, Pittsburgh, and Chicago, I mean, it's pretty much over for them, right?
Yeah, Milwaukee was putting up a good run at some point, but they kind of dropped the ball. They are now consecutive losses. So, yeah, I think they are. Milwaukee was bothering me a lot at some point in the wild card race, but they are known. I think they're out of it. I think their season is done. I think they ran out of gas.
Right, and then Pittsburgh, I have no idea what they're doing, and I don't think they know what they're doing. So, yeah.
Although I think they received a lot for that Jon Lester trade. I mean, that trade, I think they got 5 pieces. At least 2 or 3 of them were quite valuable, in my opinion.
Lester went to the Angels for Cayaspo, JB Shuck, CJ. Yeah, that's a pretty nice, decent package. The Angels certainly gave up a lot. I'm not saying that's too much. I think that depends on whether he resigns with them or not. But that's a lot of talent. I mean, Calapso and Shuck, they're pretty good prospects. I'm sorry, Calapso and Cron are pretty good prospects. I think Pittsburgh did a what did he give a good job, Lester, and what did Pirates give up?
In the last trade, I don't remember. Let me find it.
Wait, wasn't Lester dealt from Red Sox to the Pirates and then Pirates to the Angels, right? What did he give up to get Lester from the Red Sox?
Yeah, I'm trying.
I don't see it on the history.
I'm searching for it in the trade
That's
log.
Weird. It's not in the history. That's okay. Because I was thinking about comparing the packages, but.
Yeah, but I can't find it.
Yeah, that's weird. Well,
it's erased from the history, apparently.
Because history doesn't want to remember.
Yeah.
And then and then the Cubs, they got Liriano at the very beginning of the deadline, and then they're kind of playing for next year. I don't remember it.
that was a controversial trade.
Well, I think we did really well for the NL side. If you don't object, how about we pick things up tomorrow for the AL this time?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Good.
Hopefully I will have a better connection then.
Sure, yeah. Well, alright, I'll be rolling into work now, so thanks for your time, Sy.
Take care, good luck.